Whether we have them as colleagues, friends, siblings, children, or even if we just walk past them on our roads, everyone has in one way or the other encountered people living with disabilities. The International Classification of Functioning, Disability and Health defines disability as an umbrella term for impairment, activity limitations, and participation restrictions. In Nigeria, the four most familiar types of disabilities include visual, hearing, physical, and intellectual impairments. Based on the World Report on Disability, approximately 25 million Nigerians are physically challenged, with 3.5 million of these having very significant difficulties in social and physical functioning. Most times, people living with disabilities are regarded as liabilities, a dependent group that rely on the benevolence of caregivers and charitable citizens to help with their everyday affairs. They also face stigmatization, deprivation, marginalization, and generally get negative attitudes from the larger society. To address these challenges, Governor Akinwumi Ambodi's administration, through Lagos State Office of Disability Affairs, LASODA, an agency under the Ministry of Youth and Social Development, has been implementing a wide range of programs that strive to protect and defend their rights against all forms of discrimination while giving them equal opportunities.
It has been non-inclusive governance. That is what we've been doing. Mr. Akinwumi Ambode has been a man of his words. He's working along with the people living with disability, try to reduce the poverty level of PWDs in the state.
The establishment of Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs, LASODA, has been a very laudable one. And since its inception, the office has been working tirelessly to integrate people living with disabilities into the society, in line with the Lagos State Special People's Law. The office has been working to mainstream people with disabilities into the society through the principle of social inclusion and integration.
In fulfillment of its mandate, LASODA kicked off with the registration of people living with disabilities in the state. The exercise, which is ongoing, has helped to build data that government is using to plan and make policies that promote their welfare and well-being.
The registration is the first of its kind in Nigeria, if not in West Africa. It will allow the Lagos State government to formulate and implement proper disability-related policy. For instance, according to our registration, we found out that the majority of people living with disability in Lagos State are more concentrated around Ikorodu axis. So when the government is about to plan, maybe through adapted buses, housing for people with disability or whatsoever, that will be taken into consideration.
One of the immediate impacts of the registration exercise is the issuance of disability certificates, blue badges, and eventually identification cards that will give special people access to various benefits.
I urge all those who have not yet registered to do so without further delay, as the certificates and badges issued will entitle you to special rights and privileges, including free rides on BRT buses, exclusive rights to designated parking lots, and special consideration for access to the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund facility.
Similarly, LASODA organizes stakeholders forum to relate with people living with disabilities, their families and guardians, as well as meet with the executive members of disabled people organizations. These are to have direct and accurate information on issues affecting them and the solutions required.
It gives them a sense of belonging, and it's also give them a hope, that somebody is caring for them, that their flight is being recognized by the government, and the government taking the lead, in their affairs, it will encourage other people in the society to also, pay attention to their needs.
In its commitment to empower the special people and make them productive, Governor Kyumiambody's administration has introduced and sustained the organization of various events, among which is the annual Disability Expo. The Expo provides avenue for people with disabilities to showcase their products or talents, those enabling a process that will make them economically independent. The interaction and quiz sessions between students of special and regular schools and Lagos State primary schools also promotes social inclusion.
She won't come to the meeting yesterday. But that's not new. Mr. Sam, please put your hands together.
All what the PWDs need is love, care, and affection. They are talented. We should not see them as less privileged. They are having their hidden talents somewhere in them. We should be able to look into that and assist them to identify their talent.
Riding on the platform of the administration's Project This, an acronym for Tourism, Hospitality, Entertainment, and Sports for Excellence, La Soda organized its first para-sports competition for people with disabilities. This was used to engage them as adapted sports helps to build self-confidence, instill discipline, drive the spirit of competitiveness and comradeship. On regular basis, sign language training workshops are organized for personnel of different ministries, departments and agencies to equip them with the skills to communicate with hearing impaired clients and facilitate government business. Special car park spaces were also provided to ensure easier access within the present and old secretariat complexes.
He's also interested in physical development. For instance, you can see the ramps on public bridges and flyovers all over the places, which in those days, even out of a year, 2 years ago, somebody living with disability cannot cross bridges. But now it's very, very possible in Nigeria, in Lagos State.
Lagos State government has continued to maintain Okubaba Destitute Camp at Ebute-Metta, which serves as temporary shelter for them in line with a plan to keep beggars off the street. Lagos State government continuously identifies with the special people by marking the annual International Day for People Living with Disabilities and the World Down Syndrome Day. These events are also used to celebrate them, boost their morale, and give them a sense of belonging.
It is wonderful. If, given the proper attention as the governor wishes, in another 5-10 years, in another 10 years, we will be ranking among the best in the world when it comes to the rights and privileges of people living with disability.
The setting up of Lagos State Disability Trust Fund and the inauguration of its governing board was a landmark achievement in the history of the state. The fund, seeded with 500 million naira, will greatly empower people living with disabilities that are willing to go into micro, small and medium-scale enterprises.
People giving arms to the beggars on the street are not doing them any good. Because many of those people that are begging on the street are not doing it because they are living with any form of disability or another. They're seeing it as the way of life. They're taking begging as their own way of life. The last time we picked one of them, there are a lot of things they are doing underneath, outside the begging that we are seeing. This fund that we are talking about, if you have to give anything, it's better you donate this, whatever, even if it is 1,000, if it is 100 naira you want to give to the arm. We're going to ensure that the real people that are living with disability are going to be the beneficiary of this money you want to give to them on the streets. The public can ask for the audit report of this fund, where we make it very open and clear. Whatever we're using this money for, we are going to be accountable and we're going to be very strict with the implementation of whatever we are using with this fund for.
A lot of the physically challenged in Lagos are members of the Arewa community. It has been a serious problem in the hands of the Arewa community as well. So we see it as a serious solution, as a relief. We have passed the information across the length and breadth of the state, and during this engagement that I held with them, Some of them even became emotional. I was surprised to find out that they have leadership system among themselves. They were able to call themselves within 24-hour notice. They called themselves, they sat down, and they were like, wow. So a government can even listen to us. A government can come to our rescue. A government can come up and say, look, I should not beg any longer, I should have a trade to do. And they welcome it unanimously, wholeheartedly.
The people with disability in Lagos State are very, very happy about the inauguration and establishment of the Lagos State Disability Fund. You will recall that the fund was launched by our amiable governor, His Excellency, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, to mark its first year anniversary in Lagos State. And the fund is meant to protect people living with disabilities in all manners, empowerment. And when I say empowerment, there are different types of empowerment. We have financial empowerment, social empowerment, political empowerment. And that was witnessed during the last presentation ceremony on the 9th of August, this very year. And the fund is expected to grow. And Lasoda and his governing board has been working tirelessly to make sure that the fund keeps on going up.
The administration's deep care is also demonstrated in the direct employment of 250 special people. Out of this number, 100 were absorbed into the ministries, departments and agencies, while 150 were engaged for the local governments and local council development areas.
The employment of 250 people living with disabilities shows that Lagos State government will continue to lead and take the front towards mainstreaming people with disability into the society, as enshrined by certain article of United Nations Convention on right of people living with disability. You see, we want other states in the country to emulate Lagos. Disability is not a disease, but a mere part of human condition. So as part of the social inclusion and social integration and all-inclusive government, that's why our amiable governor, His Excellency Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, has taken it up to employ 250 people living with disability. And not only mere employment, each PWD, that is people living with disability, are posted very close to their place of residence or their local government, so that it could be easy for them moving around from one place to the other.
The dedication of the first year anniversary of the administration to celebrating people living with disabilities was another first in the state. With the theme Ability in Disability, the event showcased the various accomplishments of some special people with a call for total support in order for them to make a huge difference not only in their lives but to the society.
We decided to hold this event in honor of our brothers and sisters living with disabilities, not only in line with the commitment of this administration to run an all-inclusive government, but to restate our commitment to giving every individual a voice in this government. People living with disabilities have a right to live a decent life and enjoy the benefits of good governance, and as much as anyone else. As a government, we are committed to the welfare of all people without discrimination. We owe it a duty to protect and provide for every individual and group in this state, especially the vulnerable ones.
It is magnanimous. They can't have it better than what they are having today. Or what I just want to encourage the PWDs in the state is to be law-abiding citizens. They've gotten the best governor that they've never had in the past. The governor Akinwumi Ambode-led administration has been so magnanimous enough to encourage every PWDs to live peacefully and live a complete life. Empower them with money, giving the homes that are dealing with PWDs grants, giving them assistive devices to enhance their capability and their ability to be strong to be able to do things by themselves. We should be able to appreciate the kind gesture of the government of the day.
On Wednesday, 9th August 2017, Governor Kyumiambode's administration stepped up its support for special people with the distribution of cash gifts and various materials meant to empower and give them a better life. On that day, 500 people living with disabilities were given 100,000 naira each, while 10 associations received 500,000 naira each.
The presentation is aimed at empowering people living with disability. You can see various assistive devices were distributed to different clusters of people living with disability in the state. And when I say different cluster, I mean those living with the hearing impairment or deafness, that is Lagos State Association of the Deaf, those living with visual impairment or blindness, Nigeria Association of the Blind, Lagos State chapter. We have the Association of Parents of Children living with intellectual disability, they were there. We also have the Spinal Cord Injury Association of Nigeria, Lagos State chapter, and we have Lagos Association of Physically Challenged. When we say physically challenged, it means those living with upper or lower limb deformity. We also dealt with the NGOs that are not governmental in nature, dealing with disability. They were given the cash grants of 500,000 naira each to make sure they take care of their needs. As I speak, we are still distributing checks to individual beneficiaries living with disability of 100,000 naira per head, totaling 50 million.
Also, 6 clusters of people living with disabilities, comprising 20 people per cluster, benefited from the entrepreneurial skills and financial assistance. Numerous items given out include 500 white cane, 1 Index Express embosser with Duxbury Braille translation software, 10 accessible desktop computers with dual screen reader, 25 computer sets for people living with hearing impairment, 20 tactile metric set, 100 tailor frame, 60 magic whiteboards, and 6 magnetic boards. Others include 300 regular and 50 special Rough Rider wheelchairs for people living with spinal cord injury, 1 Hyundai 12-seater minibus for the Joint National Association of Persons Living with Disabilities, Lagos State Chapter, and another Hyundai 30-seater bus for Pasheli School for the visually impaired at Surulere, Lagos.
This is part of the feeling of empowerment and part of the dividend of democracy that we are clamoring for. So we are enjoying it, and we thank our able governor, His Excellency Governor Kyumiambode's for the gesture that he tried to do for today. And we all the physically challenged under the Lagos State Office of Disability, we are happy with him. We are very happy, and we want you to do more of it.
I feel good because this program is a kind of program that tells us the physical challenged ones that we matters in the society, that we are still important in the society. So I must tell you that, in fact, we are very grateful to His Excellency, because if other governors in Nigeria is doing the way he is doing, it means people that are living with disability, they will not regret their life.
I appreciate it with what Lagos State government has done, and it's a kudos for Governor of Lagos State, and it's a kudos for the Excellency, the Commissioner of Youth and Sports and Youth and Social Development. She has done a lot of kudos for her, and I think we have to thank her actually.
The intervention was another milestone in the dogged determination of the administration to provide a conducive environment and activate a platform on which special people could ride to become more productive.
Today's event is another clear evidence of promises kept by our government and a major step to demonstrate in practical terms our commitment to ensure an all-inclusive government in which no individual or group is left behind. To reinforce our determination to support persons living with disabilities to realize their dreams, a 500 million naira trust fund was established last year. Today, we are witnessing presentations to the first set of beneficiaries of this fund. Our focus is to move away from the previous charitable orientation of empowerment towards a more socially and economically oriented approach of enablement that will make people living with disabilities become wealth creators and employers of labor.
In Lagos State, the sky is not the limit, but the beginning. As said during the presentation, another event is coming up before the end of this year. The sky is not the limit, it's the beginning. We've just started. That was just the tip of the iceberg. And I think as we go ahead, as we forge ahead, other states are learning. In fact, they've started learning. Some states have come to Lagos State Assembly to borrow some ideas in line with the signage of the Lagos State Special Purpose Law. So I think the people with disability in Lagos, they have so many benefits ahead of them.
Without any doubt, Governor Akinwumi's administration is fulfilling its promises to encourage and empower people living with disabilities to live their dreams. The various policies and programs have proved that the administration is indeed running an all-inclusive government. As a result, it has given greater prospects to the special people as they leverage on government support to fulfill their potentials.